Have you ever sat down to study, determined to get things done? You have a lot, you have an upcoming exam, only to find yourself 15 minutes later scrolling on social media. Most students struggle with this, including myself, and honestly, it was very frustrating. This is why during my medical training, I had no time to waste. I did a lot of research, I read so many books, and in this video, I compile the most efficient techniques that help me stay focused. I assure you, the problem is not you, you're not lazy, but you don't have the right techniques. Today, we're gonna go over all these techniques, everything, every single detail that can help you stay focused, and all is backed by science. I assure you, by the end of this video, you're gonna have everything you need to stay focused for at least 3 hours. This video is divided into 8 parts. We'll go over why this happens, what are the aspects you should be working on. Even I talk about the best temperature for the room for maximal efficiency. Let's get started. I advise you, don't skip any part. The first part is why you struggle with focus. 3 things I'm going to be talking about. The first point is the myth of endless focus. Most people think that you should be able to focus for hours without taking a break. But research found that your brain cannot focus more than 20 to 30 minutes without taking a break. After that, your focus starts to drop. So this is normal. Probably this is a survival mechanism. Our ancestors didn't need more than 20 to 30% of focus just to go after their predator, to hunt or anything like that. They didn't need hours for studying. Point number 2, why this is happening, is digital overload. On average, people check their phone 96 times per day. If you think this is harmless, think again. And even a quick glance can cost you 23 minutes to regain your focus. If you just check your phone for a few seconds for a notification, this can cost you 23 minutes to go back into a focused mode. And under the same umbrella, digital overload, multitasking is also a killer. We think that, yeah, if we can juggle and multitask, this is very good because our brain is working so hard, but this is not good. In fact, you cannot multitask. Studies found that the brain does not multitask, but switches quickly between one task and another. Stanford University found also that multitasking might damage your focus over time. Number 3 is decision fatigue. Every decision you take, even like highlighting a passage or deciding which word you want to underline, uses some of your mental energy, which means over time, taking multiple small decisions gonna cost you a bit of focus, which is normal. So this first section, what does it mean for you? It means that the problem is not you directly, but something around you or the way you are dealing with it. So once you accept that, we can work on it and improve your focus. Now we move on to part number 2, which is the Pomodoro technique, but with a twist or with a plus. The Pomodoro technique is the most studied time management method. It does work for many people. The standard way is to take 25 minutes and focus on something, then you take 5 minutes of break. And this is one cycle, and then you can repeat this cycle many times. Why does it work? Because as we have just mentioned, that the brain loves structured focus for 20 to 30 minutes, especially when your brain knows that a break is coming soon. This reduces something called mental resistance to a certain task. Now, point number 2 is to do some customization to the Pomodoro technique. So if you're a beginner, you start with 25 minutes of intervals, but once your focus improves, experiment with 40 minutes of work followed by 10-minute break. Track what works for you. Every person has a different rhythm. Point number 3 is something called reset ritual. So before each interval, take 2 deep breaths and repeat a short affirmation like, I'm focused and ready. This really conditions your brain to shift into work mode. And finally, point number 4, why not do end of day reflection? So after your study session ends, reflect how much productive you were, how focused. Rate your productivity and your focus mode, and this will help you know what's working for you and what's not. Now let's move to point number 3, which is my favorite one, environmental optimization. First things first, declutter. Number 1, your environment, it's either working for you or against you. Declutter for mental clarity. A study at Princeton University found that a cluttered space can really decreases your attention and increases your mental fatigue. So create a clean and minimalistic study area. Remove unnecessary papers, stationeries, gadgets, anything. Keep it very clean and simple. 2, very important, lighting. Bright natural light is ideal for studying. It works on many things. It increases your serotonin level, which improves concentration. And if natural light is not an option because probably you study at night or you live somewhere where the weather is not that sunny, you can invest in a full spectrum daylight lamp to mimic the sunlight. Point number 3, which is temperature control. Optimal study temperatures range between 20 to 22 degrees Celsius or 68 to 72 Fahrenheit. If it is too cold, you can wear layers, or if it is too warm, of course, use a fan or cool water. I'm sorry, I live in a country where we have frequent... here it is, the light is back. Anyway, another thing about your environment, discomfort equals distraction. Again, you can invest in a good chair and a nice desk where you can feel comfortable. And finally, number 4 in the environmental optimization is noise control. Experiment with sound options. Some people focus best with silence, other people can put some lo-fi music or classical music, or also white noises, natural sounds. You can experiment. You can try to find whatever works for you. And if you are in a noisy environment, please use noise cancelling headphones. I want to give you here an extra tip is to use a dedicated workspace to always work there and study. Don't use a space where you can sometimes change it to gaming or watching Netflix or something else, and whenever you want to study, you switch it back. No, make it always ready for you to start studying and work, because this will condition your brain to whenever you sit in that same spot, it goes into the focus mode. Okay, now we move on to part number 4, which is managing distractions. So technology is a double-edged sword. It can either boost your focus or destroy it completely. I want to talk about 4 points here. Number 1 is airplane mode. So put your phone in airplane mode before starting. This eliminates notifications and calls. Number 2, app blockers. You can use apps like Forest to gamify your focus time. For each interval completed, you can grow a virtual tree, and if you quit early, the tree dies. But there are other options like Stay Focused. This blocks distracting websites. And also you can use Focus at Will. This plays like scientifically proven music for you to focus. Number 3 is a study-only phone use. If you must use your phone for study purposes, looking up definitions or I don't know, then you have to have a strict no social media rule. And number 4, digital minimalism, something that I really like. So declutter even your phone home screen. Remove all apps that aren't necessary and essential for you to study. Even you can do that on your PC or your tablet. And an extra boost, you can even decide to delete social media apps during your exam period. Now we move to part number 5, which is active studying techniques. So I talked about that in the previous video. Passive learning techniques does not really help you to go into a focused mode because they don't engage the brain deeply enough. I propose 4 methods that are active techniques. Number 1 is question-driven learning. So you start each study session by writing 3 to 5 questions you want to answer. This turns your studying into a challenge, and this definitely gonna boost your concentration. Number 2, consider using the Feynman technique. So the Feynman technique is you explain whatever you're studying in simpler terms to someone who's not that familiar with the subject, because it's proven that teaching something will force you to break it down into simpler terms, and this helps you stay focused. Technique number 3 is spaced repetition. So you review these information at a different interval, like day 1, day 3, day 7. This is helpful for long-term memory. And technique number 4 is dual coding. So here you can combine text and visuals like diagrams or charts. Integrating multiple formats will help you stay focused and have your concentration at maximum. Now, part number 6 of this video, physical breaks. Physical breaks are extremely important here because you want to stay focused for 3 hours. You cannot sit straight for 3 hours. 4 things to pay attention to here. The first one is stretching. Simple stretches increases blood flow to the brain and reduces muscle stiffness. So what you can do is to integrate a 2-minute routine into your Pomodoro breaks. Easy one, number 2 is walking, just a quick 5-minute walk. This improves your mood and your creativity. If possible, you can step outside for fresh air or sunlight. Number 3, never underestimate deep breathing. I usually practice something called box breathing. I inhale for 4 seconds, I hold my breath for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and hold my breath for 4 seconds. This calms the nervous system and prevents burnout. Finally, number 4, hydration. Dehydration can cause brain fog, so keep a water bottle next to you and take sips during the break. An extremely important bonus tip I want to give here is to definitely avoid scrolling on social media during your breaks. This is overstimulating and will make it very hard for you to come back from the break and focus again. Just do these 4 that I have mentioned, but don't go and scroll on social media during your breaks. Part number 7 of this video is mental reframing or mindset shifts. Sometimes the biggest obstacle for your focus is your brain, your mindset. I propose these strategies to change your mindset. Number 1 is aim for progress, not perfection. Focus on small wins instead of perfect outcomes. For example, completing 60 to 70% of your study or chapter is still something good. You did some improvements. Point number 2 is micro goals. So you can break large tasks into smaller actionable steps. Why? Because each time you complete a small micro task, your brain releases dopamine as if you're rewarding yourself, and this boosts your motivation. Point number 3 for your mental reframing is self-compassion. If you lose focus, don't criticize yourself. Instead, pause, reflect, and start again. Number 4 is focus affirmations. I've talked about that in a different video also. It really has a great impact on your brain and your focus. Before each session, just repeat few affirmations like, I can do it, I want to focus right now, I'm good at it, I am capable of the focus. Positive self-talk rewires your brain for success. Finally, we move on to the last part of this video, which is fuel your brain. So what you eat and drink directly affects your focus and your brain. I want to touch on 3 points here. The first one is brain boosting snacks. So choose brain boosting snacks low on sugar, and they have to stabilize your blood sugar, like nuts, berries, and Greek yogurt. So these provide energy during the 3 hours focus session without causing crashes. I want to reiterate point number 2, which is hydration, because dehydration reduces your performance. So drink at least 8 ounces or 250 milliliters every 1 hour. Number 3, caffeine, which is a very important point. I think I should dedicate a whole video about that. We can use coffee and tea to our own advantage, but too much of that can make us jittery or anxious. So a small cup of coffee or green tea can enhance your alertness, improving your focus. Definitely avoid energy drinks and don't overdo coffee. So now that you have all these 8 tools to use to increase your focus, I challenge you to reach a 3-hour study focus session in the upcoming week. Here's how to structure it and put it in action. The first one is your environment. Set up your environment, remove all distractions. Number 2, don't forget your Pomodoro technique. 3, apply active learning methods and take brain boosting breaks. If you start implementing some of the things that we have mentioned in this video, I assure you that you're gonna increase your focus. And honestly, for any success, you don't need more than 3 hours, consistent 3 hours per day of deep work. I know that on the internet you can find that people are trying to focus for 12 hours and 13 hours. This is not sustainable. I go with 3 hours per day. It's more than enough. If you like such content, don't forget to subscribe. If you want to know the best 2 books you need to become a grade A student, check out this video.